So it's actually so we can start the it now.
Perfect. I'm here. I'm here for you.
Yeah. So this is episode 4 of the Fireside Chats series.
Honored to be here
Yeah.
with you, Mike.
And my guest is Bret Lieberman of the program Yes I Can. With this, I always like to start with like a little quick bio and then just go from there.
Cool. You have a bio on me, or you want me to share my bio?
But I I don't know like all the stuff, but just mainly with the Yes I Can stuff.
Sure. So, Yes I Can's a social inclusion program. Was designed by myself and Kirsten Fitzpatrick. Our goal in mind was to help talented individuals who might have unique abilities find jobs in the entertainment industry. And we try to turn passions into paychecks. And along with being the executive director of Yes I Can, I have also been teaching for 20 plus years as a special education teacher. I taught at Valencia High School, Golden Valley, and Canyon High School. On top of that, I also had a production company and through concerts all the way through college. And on top of that, I produce a music festival called the Summer Meltdown Autism Autism Awareness Arts and Music Festival. I'm sorry, and I do that with students out of Yes I Can. I really enjoy that because it kind of shows all of the different skills that are needed in order to produce a big, large music festival. And it allows students to get hand-on experience learning the steps that are needed to produce something on that scale. Everything from sound, lighting, staging, artist security, artist relations, management, publicity, PR, to catering, you name it. All jobs are done by the crew in Yes I Can. And I was able to do that working alongside some pretty cool, amazing professionals in the industry who help out. And it's a labor of love, but it's definitely a group team setting that makes that happen. So that's something that I'm quite proud of. And I'm quite proud to have you in our program too, Mike. I've loved to see the growth that you've made, the confidence, and you're kind of narrowing down exactly what you want to do. And you've been exploring certain jobs and internships, and I just couldn't be more proud of you.
Thanks. So to kind of like add to why you started Yes I Can, what made you want to do Yes I Can and focus on the kind of like the entertainment industry? Like what made you want to do it in that area?
Great question. So, when my dad, who passed away, told me to mix my passions and to let my passions open doors. And my passions have always been education and music. So that definitely led to the creation of the Summer Meltdown, which definitely blends the education component and opening doors for other individuals to find their passions. And it fulfills the music I was in a high school band. I performed, met lots of amazing people, and had great experiences through that. And I kept all of those contacts. Those contacts really all came in key with the Summer Meltdown. But I had one student that comes to mind. I have a few students that come to mind, but one went into the direction of working in music and producing and making music off of the Summer Meltdown and working with signed talent. and the other one found his passion, and he was kind of confused on what he wanted to do with his life. But the outlet of the Summer Meltdown gave him the opportunity to work behind a lighting rig. And at the Meltdown, that was his first time running lights on a really big scale. I think that year we had Stephen Perkins of Jane's Addiction perform. We had Peanut of 311. We had Trapped. We had Tomorrow's Bad Seeds. And he really liked that experience. And then the following year, we had Dirty Heads, we had Modest Yahoo, and when he graduated, he continued to work in that field and run lights. And he's gone on to work with Sammy Hagar and Cabo Wabo and run lights at the Beverly Hills Hilton. And a few years ago, I did a art show and I needed lights, and I called him and I said, "Hey, can I get some lights, and how much will it cost?" And he said, "For you, it's free. Like, you opened up the door to a career that I would not have, and I'm making great money. I'm enjoying myself and getting experiences that I would not have if not opening up a door." So once I realized that students could have careers and have success in this industry just by getting a little exposure and getting their feet wet, so to speak, that definitely inspired me to really focus the program on that. And then partnering with Kirsten Fitzpatrick, she's just an amazing soul, has a great heart, and we think sometimes differently, but it's kind of like yin yang, and it works. And she kind of came from the regional center background in counseling. I came from education and music, and when we combine forces, it's kind of like Optimus Prime, Megatron. Like it all works. And so that's really what led me down that road, and why the entertainment is so important. Plus, entertainment is some of the coolest jobs out there, right? Like, if you
Yeah.
can say you're working on festivals, you're working with music people, and you're happy with what you're doing, waking up for that job really is that much easier. So, plus, the selfish part of me wants to be able to get concert tickets to a bunch of cool things when all you students are successful in doing what you love.
The- with being part of this, I definitely have learned quite a few things.
What are some of the things you've learned?
Just what, especially being someone who works in music, just how broad the music industry is, and what goes into concerts, making records, to set up, to talking to people.
100%. Yeah. No, I think you nailed it, right? Like, there's tons of different jobs. Um, and you can really just find out exactly what you're really good at, and do that and be a part. You don't have to necessarily be on the stage, but without the people behind the scenes, the person on the stage can't really do their show. So I know you've had a little taste of taking pictures and being part of press and photo passes, and you've want to maybe open the doors to setting up stages and working in that avenue, to maybe seeing what it takes to actually produce the music and be part of that team.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool to think about like a song that has like 16 different writers, and that happens in this industry. And that means that 16 people collaborated and worked together to make one piece of art.
Yeah.
And I think music and TV and film, radio, those are the type of jobs where it takes collaboration, teamwork. And those are the skills that we definitely teach and build. And yes, I can. And someone like yourself who takes the stuff to heart and runs with it, it opens up doors. And it's amazing to see someone like yourself take those lessons and apply them in real life in real time.
So, um, what kind of music and bands are you into?
It's a crazy, crazy question because I love all kinds of music. Definitely love hard rock. I know we share a passion on the hard rock music side. Love Tool, love a Rage Against the Machine, love Corn, um, all the way to funk to reggae. I'm a big reggae music lover. To electronic music, to hip hop. I love Beastie Boys, Tribe Called Quest. Love Snoop Dogg. Um, Basically, if there's a concert and it's live music, I really like to be there. I love the energy of a live show. It really doesn't matter who's performing. If I have a babysitter and I can make it happen, I'm there.
I'm very much the same way. I don't really listen to like one style of music. It's just all over the place. It's a lot of like,
It's probably why we get along, Mike.
yeah, it's movie soundtracks to rock to metal to jazz to country to like singer songwriter to all that stuff.
Yeah, I think when you have an appreciation for the art and the creation, and someone is putting themselves out there and sharing their emotions, their lyrics, and opening up a door into their soul, if it's with lyrics or if it's with music, as long as the music moves you, I'm on board. And I think as long as it's real art, you can feel it. You know, I
Yeah,
love Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't think there's an album that those guys put out
yeah.
that I don't connect with. I love 311. I love Incubus. Those are bands that I grew up listening to and still appreciate their art. So yeah, like I said, music is that universal language that we can all relate to. And uh, the cool thing to me about music is I can hear a song and it can take me back to any experience, and I can think about like where I was when I first heard that song, or if I'm going through, being low, being high, being excited, like no matter what, the music, I can connect with that music. So I think that's uh, what's so important is the emotional connection to music.
It was this interview that I saw with Dave Grohl, and his answer was when he listens to music, it's very much the same way. It'll bring him back to like certain moments when he was like in high school or during like these certain events in life. And one of them that he brought up was when he recorded Smells Like Teen Spirit. It brought him back to when he was in the recording studio, just how bare bones it was and what emotions went through his mind because Smells Like Teen Spirit and that whole album was recorded not too far from here. And just being able to be kind of transported to like a different feeling.
Yeah, I love Dave Grohl. I love Foo Fighters. I've seen them a few times. I know that you're going to be seeing Dave Grohl and Foo Fighters
Yeah.
soon. So, congratulations to you. Um, yeah, it's totally true. Like I can remember hearing songs in high school. I can remember hearing Korn's demo. I can remember hearing 311's demo and No Doubt's demo, um, and now I'm fortunate to know some people who work with those bands and produce those artists, and hearing the stories that kind of made those albums that I cherish and love. that to me is very special. But yeah, the Dave Grohl example is great. Like, think about what that album did and how it changed music history. Is pretty gnarly, right?
Yeah.
Like, it, everybody was doing one kind of music, and they kind of said, "All right, well, this is what we're doing," and then everyone changed to follow what they were doing. That's a trendsetter.
Yeah.
So to me, there's certain artists that can always transcend and change the way things go. I mean, like, even an artist like Madonna can just reinvent herself,
Yeah.
and if she were to drop something, it could change the way, music comes out. Like,
Yeah.
that's a real cool thing. Um, but yeah, the rawness of, you know the good music stands the test of time, right?
Yeah.
So you've discovered Nirvana. Someone younger is going to discover Nirvana. It's going to continue to be appreciated. It's going to mean something to someone else. And that's the other thing with music, right? Something that can mean something to you can mean something totally
Yeah.
different to me. And you could be going through a breakup, and I could be going through meeting someone, and we could both relate to a song, right? Like, uh, that's really the cool thing. Like, I'm with someone who goes, "Oh my god, that reminds me of high school," or "Oh my god, I was," that's what I was doing. When I had a fake ID and I went into the club, I heard that song for the first time, right? So music, it's timeless, and it not necessarily timeless, it time stamps
Yeah.
moments in your life. So um I'm sure there's going to be some song that you're listening to when you find that exact dream job that you
Yeah.
want to do. Like, maybe it's working at Fender, maybe it's working for Golden Voice, or working for production, maybe it's working at a drum company, whatever it is that you
Yeah.
find that you are like, all right, I found my home, my forever job. I hope there's something that's played. Um, for me, Beastie Boys is a very special artist because um, when indeed MCA passed away from cancer and my dad had cancer, he was kind of just was like, the reality is cancer will get me at some point. And that connected with me. Um, an artist revolution that me and my brother like, when my dad was in the hospital, it just automatically came on my brother's phone and was playing, like, when it was a very dark time with my dad's passing, but at the same time it was like, me and my brother were like, wow, that music just kind of came out of nowhere. But when we hear that song, it makes me, think of my dad.
Yeah.
So, or when I hear that a Beastie Boys song and it comes on miraculously on the radio, it makes me automatically think about my dad. So um, it's not like you ever forget someone you lose, but you appreciate them when you hear something that reminds you, or maybe in a spiritual way, that's just like my dad's way of saying, like, hey, here I am, still sending you love. I'm with you.
So this is something that I'm really curious about, but how are you able to connect with all these people in the entertainment world?
It's a good question. So I have a lot of natural relationships. I was always one of those people that handled a lot of the musical business for my band. Um, I went and took a lot of classes in college and met a lot of great, people. Um, but education and the meltdown and just kind of being a good person, I gravitate and I attract good people. And that's been kind of one way of meeting a lot of people in the industry. The other thing is, I'm not afraid to reach out to anyone. The worst thing that they're going to say is no, right? And for all the people who say no, I will tell you there's probably 90% of people who say, yeah, like, guest speaker sessions. I think there's something to be said about people who pay it forward and share their knowledge and their success, because every single one of those guest speaker sessions, when we've had 150 guest speakers in Yes I Can, there is a lesson to be learned from anyone who has had success. So I'm definitely one who believes in listening to your parents, right? Parents bring lots of knowledge. Um, and when indeed someone's successful, there's a recipe for someone's success. So if you can emulate it, if you can follow their steps, you too can find that success. So a lot of times it means networking. I think networking is a big thing that guest speakers talk about. Saying yes and not letting opportunities pass you by is very important as well, because um, I think of like Donovan Haney, who was one of our guest speakers, who said, like, someone asked me to run sound at their show and I was tired, but I said yes. And then going to that show, he met someone who worked with Justin Bieber. And then the person who worked with Justin Bieber also was like, oh, let me introduce you to my friend who worked for the San Jose Sharks. And he's the biggest fan of the San Jose Sharks, right? He loves that hockey team. And they're like, oh, you love the hockey team? That's crazy, because we need someone to run our sound and do our lighting at, the hockey arena, right? So saying yes to one thing opened up the door to the next, which opened up the door to the next. And the true thing is, in the entertainment industry, you're most likely going to be a freelance worker. So having a lot of relationships, one job leads to the next. So I always say, if you do a good job, it's going to open up a door and allow you to go to your next job. So sometimes you need to be searching for your next job while you're currently doing your current job. But ultimately, just kick ass at the job you're doing, and that will open up other doors.
What kind of advice would you give someone who is beginning to start their career in this kind of in this type of industry?
So, when you're young, I would say experience as many different things as you can. Um, Again, don't say no. A lot of times, sometimes people are going to ask you to do certain things for free. Do them and see what those experiences are. If it's being a production assistant on a film, if it's being at a studio and seeing exactly what everyone does at the studio, do it, experience it, and learn from people. The other thing that I would always advise is ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions and learning from people. I think anyone who is successful has no problem sharing a little bit of their success and love ambitious people. So if you're hungry, go get it. Don't let anything get in your way. But if you want to do music production, see what all those jobs look like. If you have a kind of, you like the catering, see what's involved in catering. If you like sound and sound design, see what it takes to set up the sound and kind of learn and watch and learn. If it's lighting, see what it takes to set up lighting rigs. If it's just being off the side stage and being a stagehand, what's involved in that? I would say never let drugs or alcohol get in your way. And anyone who is a hard worker stands out. So I would say no matter what, work hard, stay focused, don't pull out the cell phone. Sometimes don't wait for instruction. Kind of find out exactly what you need to do. If you're asked to do A, B, and C, do A, B, and C, and D, E, and F on your own.
That definitely is one one thing I've definitely used in at my current job. There have been times where I've got gotten stuff done early instead of just sit around and do nothing. Uh, Definitely one thing about being a drummer is our brains are definitely a little bit hyper. So I always need I always need to be doing something to kind of fill that part of me. So I might go ask someone if there's anything that needs to be done, or just see what what needs to be done, even if I don't do it without asking.
Yeah, you're a hard worker, and take advantage of that brain that goes pretty quickly, right? There's nothing wrong with if you can make your ADD work, right? I think we've had lots of guest speakers who have shown there's some advantages of that ADD.
Yeah.
Use it to your advantage.
So when you're not when you're not teaching or being part of a yes I can, what are kind of like some fun things you like to do in your free time?
Sure. I love going to art shows. Big I really do appreciate all different kinds of art and art exhibits. I love spending time with my little girl, Rebel. There's lots of joy. It took a long time to have a child, and I definitely appreciate seeing things through her eyes and experiences. I love going to Cabo to just kind of unwind and love the culture in Los Cabos. Um, Spending time with family. Guess just like you, I like to Netflix and chill and find new documentaries or things to watch that way. But that's really how I unwind. After the day is done, I might have a cup of tea and love watching basketball. Big Clipper and Laker fan. Lakers kind of depressing this year, but I do love watching an NBA game and sports. So I enjoy a sporting event. I enjoy live music events. Any of those things are great entertainment for me and gets my mind off of work.
Yeah, definitely concerts is definitely one thing for me that I do enjoy going to. The last concert that I went to before everything got shut down was the one that we went to at the whiskey, was Bias, and that was
Mm-hmm.
like 1 or 2 days before everything shut down.
Yeah, I think it might have even been like the night before the
Yeah,
world shut down,
yeah,
right? Like I remember being in the car with you and hearing that Tom Hanks got COVID and that the NBA was shutting down due to COVID. So I knew those were pretty two
yeah,
monstrous things. And then the next day, my brother was actually shooting pictures with the band 311 in Vegas, and they had a pretty big, massive show. And I remember it going like, "Are they going to play?" And he's like, "They're debating," and they did it, and no one really got sick, and everyone enjoyed themselves. But that was like the last, I believe, concert of for sure.
so in July of last year, I went to my first concert since this whole thing started. And that definitely was something that I'll remember, just because on how much I forgot on how much I love that live feeling. Like
Sure.
the on how like the sound hits me and makes me excited.
I could not agree with you more. Um, I went to one of those drive-in shows and just wanted to experience live music. Did it in a safe, I went with someone who tested negative. We sat in the car and watched the show and listened to it. It was like going to a drive-in and listening it to the music out of the car speakers, which was totally weird when you could like just put your head out of the vehicle and really like see it there. So that was definitely a very unique
Yeah.
experience, and but still made me appreciate
Yeah.
the live concert, like the fact that bands were trying to still figure out a way to connect. Live streams were a real big thing, and again another way for artists to try to connect with their fans and keep the music going. Because the bottom line is, if you're not performing and you're not doing shows and you're not putting out music, people forget about you.
Yeah.
So unless you're one of those artists that can take a few years off and uh, like an artist like System of a Down, if they put out an album right now, everyone would buy it. Everyone would be excited. There's certain bands that can just put out their art when they want to put out their art. And then there's certain bands that just need to continually put out art, and it doesn't matter. Some are, have to do obligations to record labels, but yeah, it's never pushed. It's usually organic out of those really large artists. Like I'm very excited for a Red Hot Chili Pepper
Yeah.
album that will come out this year.
One thing that I'm definitely looking forward to is seeing the Foo Fighters in concert, because I know they put on like 2.5 hour shows, and it's very, they don't, the, they're known for putting all their energy into their concerts.
Yeah, I know.
Especially,
I think you're going to enjoy Foo Fighters. They keep it real.
and they're actually, they're playing 2 nights at this venue. The second night sold out, I think, just because it takes place on a Saturday. But I'm going on the first show, which is a Thursday, and there's still seating for that first show.
You're good. Don't worry. Swallow wrong. Yeah. No, I think Foo Fighters are incredible, and they put on a great rock show, and they're real. They don't
Yeah,
need a bunch of tracks, and the music they make, they can replicate that on stage. And Dave Grohl is probably the best front man out there right now. You know, I love Dave Grohl. I love watching his show with his mom. I don't know if you've seen that, From the
yeah,
Cradle to the Stage.
yeah,
Uh, I love that his mom was an educator. I love that he backs up education. And I've just heard that he's probably one of the most giving real artists out there. And to kind of think about his vulnerability, playing drums, just picking up an ad and auditioning, to play with Kurt Cobain and do Nirvana, and what Nirvana did and continues to do, and everything that guy has touched has been gold.
yeah.
So Foo Fighters are incredible. I look forward to seeing what he does
Yeah.
next after that too.
I'm actually reading Dave Grohl's book, and I'm at the area where he joins Nirvana, and before he joined, Kurt saw Dave playing drums with the band Scream at some small venue, and Kurt called him and asked him if he wanted to join. So he went. So he flew from LA to I whatever I can't remember the name of the city up in Washington, so we flew and just had like a jam session,
Yeah.
and they decide that he's the right fit.
And that again is a prime example of where sometimes you just have to chance it.
Yeah,
And like, I'm sure it would have been really easy to go, hey, I don't want to fly out here. I'm already in a band, like I don't want to meet new people. I'm comfortable. I think sometimes getting out of your comfort zone, success is on the other
yeah.
side of your comfort. And that's a great example of him doing just that, flying out, flying solo. Um, that's where opportunities happen.
So, where do you see the future of Yes I Can down the road?
So I see the expansion right now. I love how everything is happening organically, and I want to see like a 90% placement rate of jobs for everyone. I want to make sure people are happy with their jobs and they find their passion. The passion leads to the paycheck. I see an expansion down into the LA area very soon. I really love our partners in 1500 Sound Academy and what they're doing there. They have the same principles of taking the youth and giving them an opportunity to get out of their environments. And 1500 really teaches you the music business, it teaches you music production, it teaches you how to make sure you're not getting screwed over in this music industry, which can be really confusing. A lot of times people are like, well, I'll just be an artist and someone's going to look out for my financials. And that's not always how it happens, right? Like you need to know how to read a contract. You need to know how to deal with people. You need to know how to present yourself on stage, how to perform your music, how to write your music, how to record your music. So finding that relationship is something that I think is going to really be something special. I know you're going to check it out next week,
Yeah,
so I'm excited to
yeah.
see what you think about that. Um, they offer an online platform. They offer, going down and actually putting your hands on that equipment. And I think there is something to be said on being in a studio, actually plugging things in, recording, learning where you set up the drums, where you set up the microphone, how you get those sounds, how you create those beats. Ultimately, the cool thing about them is once you learn how to produce and record that music and write that music, most rock songs are written on a guitar. Hip hop songs can be written on a guitar, can be written on a keyboard for music. Rock music can be on a piano. So being able to play instruments, I think it's the best of both worlds. I like to find some partners in film and TV as well. I think there's definitely a great thing that could happen with Santa Clarita Studios, as so many shows are filmed here in Santa Clarita. Um, so that's something that I'd like to see, and just kind of expanding our team, expanding our students, all of the above is something that I'm really looking forward to.
That definitely is one thing I've noticed about being here in like the Santa Clarita area. When I'll take the bus to go to work or go to the mall or wherever, there have been times where I've seen the buses with all like the camera gear and all the lighting, like the massive trailers, and they'll be filming whatever it is, and it is cool to see how that stuff works.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's a cool thing. It's funny you mentioned that, right? Like, there's a cool thing seeing like a show, a large scale show set up with the sound, the lighting, the stage right. But that same excitement of what happens behind the scenes to see something filmed in Santa Clarita. I love watching like a CSI, right? CSI is notorious for being filmed out here, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was watching CSI and I'm like, oh, there's College of the Canyons, or oh, that's the football field at COC, or oh, that's the local bar,
Yeah.
and in seeing them, film the biker show. I can't think
Oh,
of the biker show.
Sons of
Yeah,
Anarchy.
yeah, Sons of Anarchy is always filmed, out here. So they're and that's a job, like a scouting job, right?
Yeah.
Someone is coming out here to Santa Clarita and looking at all of the different locations. You have to pull permits in order to do those shows. So yeah, like it is. I totally agree with you. It's very cool to see the things that are happening behind the scenes. And Santa Clarita Studios is really involved in a lot of that. I've seen commercials. I've seen so many different things, and then it's really cool too. Even music wise, I think like the VMAs were filmed here for MTV and somewhere in Santa Clarita at one of the studios. So to know that Lady Gaga was out here, Ariana Grande was out here, Drake was hanging out here in Santa Clarita, and you just never know
Yeah.
what's going to happen out here.
Um, so one last question I wanted to ask.
Sure.
What are some of your favorite things in being involved with Yes I Can?
My favorite things involved with Yes I Can. I love the team of professionals that I work with Yes I Can. Everyone has their different skill sets, and everyone brings something unique to the table, but everyone is passionate and shares the same passion, and everyone puts the students before themselves. So that's something that I really love. I really love the students in Yes I Can. Like, you're one of my favorite students because you work hard and you have an open mind, you're passionate, and you're hungry, right? Those are things that um, is hard to teach. Those are things that you've learned from, your parents, right? But I love working with someone who's hungry, someone who's bringing something to the table. I don't mind going 110% for someone if they're going to meet me halfway. What I do love is when someone gives 110% and meets me at 110%. There's a lot of success
Yeah.
that can be found at 110%. So I love the students. I love going to events and seeing events with the students. And I'm really looking forward, once COVID mellows out and we can have safe live events
Yeah.
and not have to worry about canceling certain things or adjusting how we produce certain things. Um, that's something that I'm really looking forward to as well.
I can see what you're saying about working with people that are willing to put in like the 110%, just because one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel, because music is something that I really do enjoy and love, and it kind of allows me to somehow have that creative outlet.
Yeah, I think you need to have a creative outlet. And I'm glad you brought that up, because the throwing an event allows the creative outlet.
Yeah.
Throwing an art show has that creative outlet. Working in a team and that collaboration, it's funny because the lessons that like we're learning and we're teaching, the entrepreneurial mindset, the collaboration, the communication, the diversity, social diversity awareness, the problem solving, all of those things that we're teaching to you guys are things that I use daily. So I know there's proof in the pudding. And if you take the lessons to heart and you apply the lessons to your life, success is right around the corner. So that's why I love the curriculum. I love the students. I love the experiences. I love watching the growth. That's something that I love to see, right? Like I can think about when you first came to our program, you were extremely shy. There's no way you would do what you're doing right now, right?
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't do this. And so seeing that confidence, seeing that growth, seeing it's organic, seeing that it's real, that excites me. That kind of makes me a proud instructor, makes me proud of what our program can do when we work as a team. Yeah, so I would say all of the above. There's so much that I'm excited for, and I'm very excited for the future. Um, yeah, I think there's endless possibilities. There's just not enough time in the day.
I would agree. So I'm actually open to being asked questions.
What are you most excited about with Yes I Can for your future?
Just having more doors open and being able to learn more of the in-depth of the whole music world and seeing how I can find more of what I want to do.
Yeah, I think you could do anything that you want
Yeah,
to do in music. That's kind of the cool thing. I think once you go and you see 1500, that's going to open up doors. I know that you have love for different instruments and
yeah,
companies. And if it's working for one of those companies and finding a home there, you're going to be happy. Um, and the best part about our program is the career exploration. You don't need to know exactly what you want to do now. Like you can experience a bunch of different things and then find exactly what you like and stick with it.
yeah.
And you can always, if you have skills in lots of different areas, you can grow and go apply and do certain things in other spots and other careers and other avenues. So that's great as well.
There definitely has been a lot of stuff that I've learned while running this YouTube channel. And definitely one of them is sitting in front of a camera, just on how nervous it was at the beginning. Also learning how to write like a rough draft of a script for each video, being able to reach out to all these different people that I want to be involved with in for this channel, and just all the stuff that goes into writing, directing, lighting for this channel.
Sure. Great to see, what happens behind the scenes and see the work that's, needed. And, um, when you work hard for something and you achieve it, you appreciate it that
Yeah,
much more. So, like right now, you're on 4. I have no doubt you're going to be at 100 before you know it. It's funny. Like the guest speaker sessions was really Kirsten's idea, and she was like, "Let's just kind of see where it goes." And
yeah,
I just looked at our numbers. We're at 152, 153 guest speakers now, right?
yeah,
So um, that's incredible to think. There's a lot of knowledge in
yeah.
153 guest speakers.
I probably you'll done this with having a lot of guests is just what goes into asking if they want to be involved, and also being able to learn what they've learned on, and being open to more ideas of on how this whole thing works.
Yeah. Yeah. Coordinating, finding people's time, making it work within their schedule, all that, like when you asked me to do this, I was more than excited and thrilled to
Yeah.
spending an hour with you is a
Yeah.
great time
Yeah.
to me.
It definitely was one thing I was willing to ask. Like, I wasn't sure if you had the time, but just being open to at least ask.
I will make time for you whenever you want time, Mike.
Yeah.
Got any last questions in closing?
I think I'm good for now.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow when I run the show
Yeah.
and get to have you in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I'm very proud of you, Mike. Keep up the good work, keep up the hustle, keep up the passion, and good things are going to come your way. I promise you.
I know, even though I don't know where I'll land in terms of like a career for music, but I just have one of those feelings that I'll know I'll eventually get there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the attitude you need to have because that's what gets you where you need to
Yeah.
go. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Well, I appreciate spending an hour with
Yeah.
you. Loved talking about music and talking about life. You have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
It was nice. It was nice having this whole talk.
100% agreed.
So that wraps up episode 4 of the Fireside Chats episode. And I look forward to whatever is the future.
Amen.
Thanks.
Adios, brother.
Bye.
Bye.